My name is Alistair and I'm a software engineer. Or I asterisk was a software engineer. Now I'm still figuring that out. I'm 46 years old and until 6 months ago I thought I had it all. A beautiful home in Seattle, a stable career, and a wife, Bronwyn, whom I adored. We'd been married for 15 years, and while the spark had dimmed a little, I believed we were solid, partners, best friends. I was wrong. It started subtly. Bronwyn, who worked as a marketing manager, began working late more often. "Big project," she'd say, kissing me quickly before rushing out the door. I didn't think much of it at first. We'd both had busy periods in our careers, but then came the phone calls. Whispered conversations in the next room, always ending abruptly when I entered. "Just my mother," she'd explain, a little too quickly. Her mother had passed away 5 years ago, then there was the change in her scent. Bronwyn had always worn a light floral perfume. Suddenly, I was catching whiffs of something musky, something masculine. I chalked it up to a new lotion, trying to dismiss the gnawing feeling in my gut. But the feeling persisted, growing stronger with each passing day. The first real crack in the facade came during what she called a girls' weekend in Portland. Bronwyn had been planning it for weeks, a chance to recharge with her friends from college. I encouraged her to go. She deserved a break. I even drove her to the airport, kissed her goodbye, and watched her walk through security. I later learned she never boarded that plane. That weekend was hell. I missed her terribly. The house felt empty, silent. I tried to distract myself with work, but I couldn't focus. I kept replaying our last conversation, searching for clues, for something I might have missed. On Sunday evening, I went to pick her up from the airport. I waited at the gate, watching passengers disembark, but Bronwyn wasn't among them. I called her phone. No answer. I called her friends. They were all busy or unavailable. The seed of doubt that had been planted weeks ago suddenly sprouted into a full-blown, monstrous vine, choking the life out of my trust. I drove home, my mind racing. I needed answers. I started with her laptop. I knew it was a violation of her privacy, but I couldn't stop myself. I searched her emails, her browser history, anything that might shed some light on her whereabouts, and then I found it. A folder hidden deep within her files, labeled Project Nightingale. Inside were dozens of photos and messages. Photos of Bronwyn with another man, a man I recognized. Cillian, our neighbor. Messages filled with explicit details about their affair, their rendezvous, their plans for the future. My world tilted on its axis. Cillian, the guy who borrowed my lawnmower every other week. The one who always complimented Bronwyn on her cooking. The one I considered a friend. The betrayal was staggering, a punch to the gut that left me gasping for air. I sat there, staring at the screen, unable to process what I was seeing. It felt like a nightmare, a cruel joke, but it was real, painfully, devastatingly real. The next few days were a blur. I confronted Bronwyn when she finally returned home, feigning exhaustion from her weekend. I showed her the photos, the messages. Her face drained of color. She didn't deny it. She couldn't, it just happened, she stammered, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't mean for it to go this far, it just happened," I repeated, my voice trembling with rage. "You planned a fake girls' weekend to sleep with my neighbor and you tell me it just happened," she tried to explain, to justify her actions. "I felt neglected," she said. "You were always working. We weren't connecting anymore, so your solution was to cheat on me with Cillian." I asked, incredulous. "That's how you solve problems in a marriage," she sobbed, begging for forgiveness. "Please, Alistair, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I still love you." But the words were empty, hollow. The trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. I looked at her, at the woman I had loved for 15 years, and I saw a stranger, a liar, a cheat. I told her to leave. I couldn't bear to look at her any longer. She packed a bag and walked out the door, leaving me alone in the house we had built together, the house that now felt like a tomb. The following weeks were the darkest of my life. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I lost weight. I withdrew from my friends, my family. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of despair. I considered seeking therapy, but I couldn't bring myself to talk about it. The shame, the humiliation were too much to bear. Then, one day, something shifted. A spark of anger ignited within me, a burning desire for justice. I couldn't let Bronwyn and Cillian get away with what they had done. I wouldn't let them destroy my life. I started small. I changed the locks on the house. I contacted a lawyer and filed for divorce. I began documenting everything, every detail of Bronwyn's affair, every lie she had told. I was meticulous, methodical. I wanted to make sure she paid for what she had done, but that wasn't enough. I wanted them to suffer. I wanted them to feel the pain I had felt. I started by targeting Cillian. I knew he worked as a real estate agent, so I began leaving negative reviews about him online, detailing his affair with a married woman. I contacted his employer, providing them with evidence of his misconduct. He was fired within a week. Next, I turned my attention to Bronwyn. I knew she was desperate to keep the affair a secret from her family and friends. So I started sending anonymous emails to everyone she knew, revealing the truth about her girls' weekend and her relationship with Cillian. The fallout was spectacular. Her friends ostracized her, her family disowned her, and she lost her job. But even that wasn't enough. I wanted to see them face to face, to witness their humiliation, their regret. I knew they were still seeing each other, sneaking around like teenagers. So I decided to stage a confrontation. I hired a private investigator to track their movements. I learned that they were planning a romantic getaway to a secluded cabin in the mountains. I knew this was my chance. I drove to the cabin, arriving late at night. I parked my car a short distance away and crept through the woods, approaching the cabin from the rear. I peered through the window. Bronwyn and Cillian were inside, sitting by the fire, laughing and cuddling. The sight of them together, so carefree, so oblivious to the pain they had caused, filled me with a white-hot rage. I kicked down the door and stormed inside. They both jumped up, their faces contorted with shock and fear. "What the hell are you doing here?" Cillian shouted, stepping in front of Bronwyn. "I came to pay you a visit," I said, my voice cold and menacing. "To thank you for ruining my life, Alistair, please," Bronwyn pleaded, tears welling up in her eyes. "Don't do this." "Don't do what?" I asked, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "Don't expose your little secret. Don't hold you accountable for your actions." I turned to Cillian. "You know, I always thought you were a decent guy. A little boring, maybe, but decent. I was wrong. You're nothing but a pathetic excuse for a man, a home wrecker." Cillian lunged at me, throwing a punch. I blocked it easily and retaliated with a blow to his face. He stumbled backward, clutching his nose. "Alistair, stop it!" Bronwyn screamed, trying to pull me away. I pushed her aside and continued to pummel Cillian. I didn't care about the consequences. I just wanted to inflict as much pain as possible. Finally, I stopped, panting and sweating. Cillian was lying on the floor, bleeding and moaning. Bronwyn was kneeling beside him, sobbing. "Get out," I said to Bronwyn, my voice barely a whisper. "Get out of my sight. I never want to see you again." She helped Cillian to his feet and led him out of the cabin. I watched them go, feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and emptiness. I stayed in the cabin for the rest of the night, drinking whiskey and staring at the fire. I knew I had crossed a line. I had become someone I didn't recognize, but I didn't regret it. They had deserved it. The next morning, I drove back to Seattle. I turned myself in to the police and confessed to assaulting Cillian. I was arrested and charged with assault. I spent a few days in jail before being released on bail. My lawyer advised me to plead guilty and accept a plea bargain. I did so, and I was sentenced to probation and community service. It wasn't the outcome I had hoped for, but it was better than nothing. The divorce was finalized a few months later. Bronwyn received nothing. I kept the house, the car, and the majority of our assets. She was left with nothing but her shame and her broken relationship with Cillian. I haven't seen or spoken to Bronwyn since that night at the cabin. I heard through the grapevine that she and Cillian had broken up. Apparently, their love couldn't withstand the pressure of public scrutiny and financial hardship. As for me, I'm still trying to rebuild my life. I lost my job after the arrest, but I'm slowly getting back on my feet. I'm working as a freelance programmer and I'm starting to feel like myself again. The scars of Bronwyn's betrayal will always be there, but I'm learning to live with them. I'm stronger now, more resilient. I know that I deserve better and I won't settle for anything less. I'm sharing my story not for sympathy but for awareness. Betrayal can happen to anyone. Even the most loving, trusting relationships can be shattered by infidelity. If you suspect your partner is cheating, don't ignore the signs. Investigate, confront them. And if the worst is true, don't be afraid to walk away. Your happiness, your self-respect are worth more than any relationship. Remember that and you'll be okay. You'll survive. You might even thrive, but the story doesn't end there. A few weeks ago, I received a strange phone call. It was Cillian. He sounded desperate, almost hysterical. "Alistair, you have to help me," he said, his voice trembling. "Bronwyn she's gone crazy," I repeated, confused. "What are you talking about?" "She's been stalking me," he said. "Following me everywhere, sending me threatening messages. She even vandalized my car." I was taken aback. This wasn't the Bronwyn I knew. Or perhaps it was. Perhaps I had never truly known her. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Why would I want to help you? Because I'm afraid of her," he said. "And I don't know what else to do. Please, Alistair, you're the only one who can stop her." I hesitated. Part of me wanted to laugh, to revel in his misery, but another part of me felt a twinge of sympathy. He was genuinely scared. And if Bronwyn was truly stalking him, she needed help. "All right," I said. "I'll talk to her." I called Bronwyn. She answered immediately. "Alistair," she said, her voice sounding weak and fragile. "Cillian called me," I said. "He says you've been stalking him." There was a long silence. Then she started to cry. "I didn't mean to," she sobbed. I can't let him go. I still love him." "Bronwyn, you need help," I said. "You can't keep doing this. You're going to get yourself into serious trouble." "I know," she said, "but I don't know what else to do." I convinced her to seek therapy. I even offered to pay for it. To my surprise, she agreed. "I don't know if therapy will help Bronwyn. I don't know if she'll ever truly recover from the pain of her mistakes, but I hope she does. For her sake and for the sake of everyone she hurts. As for Cillian, I don't feel sorry for him anymore. He made his bed and now he has to lie in it. He'll never be truly happy, not after what he's done. And me? I'm moving on. I'm learning to forgive, but I'll never forget. I'm focusing on my career, my friends, my own happiness. I'm determined to build a better life for myself, a life free from the pain and betrayal of the past. It's a long and difficult journey, but I'm not giving up. I'm a survivor, and I'll keep fighting until I reach the finish line. So, to you, the listener, remember this. Betrayal is a wound that can heal, but it leaves a scar. Choose wisely who you trust and never compromise your own values for the sake of a relationship. Your happiness is your responsibility. Protect it, cherish it, and never let anyone take it away from you. And if you find yourself in a similar situation, know that you're not alone. There is hope, there is healing, and there is a future waiting for you on the other side. Don't give up, keep fighting, and never ever lose faith in yourself.